DLC.
Right. Fair enough. All right, so that's Quantum Break. It's available on Game Pass, and yeah, maybe it deserves a second look. Most of the gaming, like I said, I've been traveling a lot, but I did play some VR stuff. So let's get into that.
Virtual reality. VR. Virtual reality. Just VR.
So the big release this week on MetaQuest 3 was an authentic Steam Link app. Valve put out an app for MetaQuest 3 that allows you to play Steam VR games on MetaQuest 3, streaming them from your PC as long as you have you're on the same Wi-Fi network.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah is right.
Hallelujah.
Is right. And I believe with this release, the MetaQuest 3 is the best VR headset on the market.
I can see
Period.
that. I can see that.
Period. It is. I mean, it's a bummer that there are VR games that are exclusive to PSVR and PSVR 2 that you can't play. And I think the PSVR 2 is a solid headset, but I think on every level now, MetaQuest 3 surpasses PSVR 2, in my opinion. It is not
the
tethered.
opinion of someone who hates El Paso elsewhere.
Yeah, so take that as what you will. I'm glad I have a PSVR 2. I think it looks great, and there are some great experiences on it that you can't get anywhere else.
But the library
is lacking, and I don't know how confident I am that something like Synapse that came out this year. I think was one of my favorite VR experiences of the year.
Great game.
Is a great game. It can only be played on that platform. The Horizon VR game, great game, can only be played on the PSVR platform.
The good version of RE4 coming out this week.
Yeah. I suspect there'll be a PC release, but maybe not.
well, maybe the Horizon one will too, right?
Maybe. That's
Sony's playing
certainly
that
possible.
Game. Sony's playing that game a little bit.
Here's hoping. I'm
never.
gonna knock on wood on that one. Here's hoping. But the fact that the MetaQuest 3 now has a way to airlink the Oculus experience, the PC Oculus games like Lone Echo 2, and so many others that are exclusive to Oculus that require a beefier computer than is in the standalone headset. But you can now simply wirelessly transmit those to the headset. And now any VR game that's on Steam, you can do the same. I installed it. It couldn't have been easier.
Really?
It simple. You download the free Steam VR app on the headset. You have Steam loaded on your PC as long as the PC and the headset are on the same Wi-Fi network. It says, here's the code. It's a 4-digit code. Type it into your Steam, on PC. Boom. We're talking to each other. You're good to go. And it literally loads the Steam VR UI into the headset. So now you're in. It looks like you are in Steam VR. It's that same home experience. All my VR apps that I had on my Index are available to me to play. And I started playing Half-Life Alyx on my MetaQuest 3. And Christian, I felt like I was playing the remastered edition of Half-Life Alyx. Even though that doesn't exist. There's no remaster. It just
But you have like a beefier GP now, or but you played it wired before, or just because no cable?
No.
What made it?
The quality of the headset surpasses the quality of the image in the headset is so much better than the Index, which is still available for purchase at a much higher price than the MetaQuest 3. The image is so crisp. It has no screen door effect. I felt like I was playing that game in a whole new way, seeing things. It is so beautiful. The frame rate was great. Now, granted, I have a beefy GP. I am on a beefy computer, and I was playing mere feet from my Wi-Fi router, right? So I'm not like,
And your
I have
computer's
not
tethered,
tested it.
right? Like they
What?
recommend you have they recommend your computer to be locally plugged, like
My
not,
computer is Ethernet connected to my router. My headset obviously was not, but
Yeah.
I wasn't terribly far from my router. So I'm not suggesting like if you're, I don't know, walking in the woods trying to do this or in your backyard or whatever.
Please don't go
But
walking in the woods, please.
but the
It's
you
like
know
I'm really
the,
there. Whoa!
I'm really there.
Yeah,
Why am I
fall off a
there?
cliff. Yeah.
Yeah.
This wind feels crazy.
The sense of scale.
Exactly right.
But
That bear's teeth are sharp.
but having said all of that, I don't think having the best condition. Obviously, the high end computer part is expensive, so I recognize that I have a good video card, all that stuff. But I think achieving optimal conditions is not difficult, right? As long as you have a place to put the headset on that's has good Wi-Fi connection, has a good, I don't think that's hard to do. If you have a good Wi-Fi in your house, it's going to work. And the frame rate was excellent. The image was beautiful and crisp. Everything worked. Everything just worked. And it's so cool because in the menus and stuff, you look down and you see the Meta Quest controllers, right? Because the Index controllers, for example, are very different. They have the squeezy grip and all. They look different, but it's completely feels like a native experience to the Quest. And it works so well immediately. That entire library is available. There's so many great games on Steam VR to play, Half-Life Alyx being one. You have, an easy way to play all the great Oculus games that have come out. Like I said, Lone Echo 2 are two of my very, very favorites. It's so great that this works like this. This headset is relatively inexpensive. It's not cheap. It's $300, $400. But
$500.
is it $500?
Mm.
$500. You're right. I was thinking the two's $400. Whatever. Doesn't matter. It's less expensive than the Index. It's less expensive than the Index.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's not cheap, but I think it is for me the premier VR headset. Now, obviously, Apple's going to come in and have something to say about that, but at an extraordinarily high price point, right? You can get 7 Quest 3s for the price of one Apple Vision Pro. But I think for right now, like with the pass-through, with the AR stuff, with the way you can play literally so many games that have come out, if you're thinking right now about getting into VR this holiday, it has never been easier for me to say there is one headset to rule them all. And it's hard because, as I said, PSVR 2 is a strong candidate. I think the comfort level of the Quest is superior to the comfort level of PSVR 2. I think, the pass-through is better. Pass-through on the PSVR 2 is only black and white. You have color pass-through on Quest 3. It's just easy for me to recommend at this point. And I was go ahead.
So here's my question to you. Is this a mea culpa of Valve and saying, Meta, run with it? Or is this Valve saying, we got ours coming too, and it's going to be a standalone, so we needed to make a play nice, and we're going to open,
I don't know.
They've wanted Steam VR on everything, and so is this their way of trying to open up that wall? But they have what's rumored to be Deckard or whatever the alleged.
Right.
So I'd be very curious if Valve makes a Steam Deck headset, like one thing self-contained. Now they have this technology proven out in a way that seems to work really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, the rumor is that that's what they're working on. So who knows? I was surprised that this happened, but I do like the fact that these are less and less closed ecosystems, right? Obviously, Meta isn't playing nice in reverse, right? You can't get Oculus games. Actually, you can. It's just not them doing it, but you can. I just wish. I wish there was a little more back and forth with the PlayStation headset, but of course, it's console mentalities are it's closed ecosystems.
I have a
So
question.
yeah,
Did they figure out the whole one login, two quests, two or more quests with Meta? Because remember when Meta 2 came out, there was this whole like kerfluffle where it's like if you signed in there, then something happened with the original. Did they get that all figured out? Because we skipped the 2, and I'm really thinking about getting the Quest 3. Because my kids have fallen in love with playing VR stuff, but I was like, how will that play nice, or do they have to have their own Facebook account? Can I, you know what I'm saying? How's that all working?
I don't know the exact answer to that, to be frank. I suspect there is, because there's a number of games that have come out that are Quest exclusives that allow you. They have this new technology where the headsets, another headset will see, they'll see each other in the same room, and so you can play things like Demio battles, and there's a bunch of AR games where you can be all standing around the same thing and seeing each other and all manipulating the same thing in real time. It's in front of you, and it'll see another headset in the same room as you and interact with it.
Wow.
It's possible that it still requires you to have distinct profiles or
Yeah, sure.
logins to do that. I don't
Mhm.
know, but I haven't had the opportunity to try that. But hopefully they figured it out. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, Christian, logging into Half-Life Alyx again and seeing it like with fresh eyes, it's such a bummer to me that this tech hasn't taken off, because that's what's possible, and it's been possible. We could still be doing that, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful in the Quest 3. It's more, I mean, I spent so much money on the Index. It was the top of the line at the time, and I had that incredible experience playing that game. But now it looks so much worse than what's capable. It's
Wow.
so crisp. The image is so sharp. Ah, it feels like I'm playing a whole new game again. And I was like, I want to play all through this. And I'm not tethered anymore. I'm spinning around. I'm fighting bad guys and doing all kinds of stuff. I don't have to worry about the cord anymore, which is so nice. It's really great.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
That is very cool.
And I was so high last week. I was talking about I was so high on Assassin's Creed Nexus VR, which I still think is excellent. But like, and I know that Meta and the developers that they've acquired, their mandate is to create standalone experiences, and so they're sort of limited by the standalone capabilities of the headset. But like, why? Like, let there be these powered experiences that just seamlessly wirelessly stream. I understand their selling point is, hey, buy this, you don't even need a computer, just buy it and now you can play all these things. And I think that's compelling, but it's holding back the level of verisimilitude, the level of, it looks like real, it looks beautiful and realistic and awesome in the headset. I think Assassin's Creed Nexus VR is great, but compared to Half-Life Alyx streamed, it's not comparable.
I mean,
it's
you're saying what we kind of talked about for a while. This is why we are peanut butter and chocolate, Jeff, shaking hands, is you are VR and I am cloud gaming. And
yeah.
that
Now
is
it's the same thing.
That is the unison. Is like when GeForce Now works on a MetaQuest 3 or something like that, and the latency and all that stuff. Because then it's that one shot, you got everything you need. And I think we're getting closer and closer to that.
I mean, we're kind of like, that's it. We're not there in the sense that it's still being computed on my PC and not from the cloud, but it's proving to me, it's making me eat my words a bit when I was like, oh, I'm really glad the PSVR 2 is wired because I want all the, it's like, no, Sony could have just wirelessly streamed PS5 stuff to my headset.
What would they call it? The PSVR 2 portal? They'll never make that.
Anyway, we got a listener question about VR that I wanted to read. This comes from Paul, who wrote this to dlcfeedback@gmail.com. Paul said, I have a PS4 and PSVR, no PS5. PSVR 2 is expensive. It has occurred to me just to get the latest meta thing, Oculus Quest 3, and skip the PSVR 2 version because the latter would be like $2,000 or something, and that's hard to justify at my advanced age. I found that gaming in VR doesn't engage me, but I really enjoy it for other more casual activities. And it seems like there are more non-gaming VR alternatives on platforms other than PlayStation. For example, I think a Google Earth in VR is available and not on PlayStation. That's correct, Paul. Do you have thoughts, recommendations on this? Maybe a non-gaming VR could be an interesting topic for VR talk. I realize it's kind of outside the purview of the show, but game is a broad term these days for all kinds of interactive media, so maybe it works. I will say, just briefly, to answer your question, that yes, Steam VR, as you might expect, has many more of these kinds of experiences than PlayStation does, right? PlayStation is a PlayStation, and they are much more curated in what is available. And Steam, and for that matter, just the native Oculus Quest store or the Meta Quest store has a lot of productivity apps. You can watch, for example, one of my favorite things to do in the Quest 3, which I never enjoyed on previous versions of the headsets because the image was not crisp enough. But one of my favorite things to do is watch 3D movies, which I know a lot of people have distaste for, but I still love 3D movies. And you can watch trailers for 3D movies on MetaQuest 3, and they look so good. They look so good. It's like you're in a giant movie theater and you're watching 3D trailers for Titanic and Life of Pi and all these great movies. And it's the best version of 3D. The idea that you probably have in your head of sitting in a movie theater wearing flimsy glasses that 400 people wore before you and were wiped off barely by the attendant before they were thrown in a big tub, and then you put on your face and it looks kind of crappy and it's low light, and that is not the experience. The experience inside a virtual reality headset is the best 3D movie viewing experience on the planet. And it is so infuriating to me that PlayStation VR 2 does not support 3D Blu-ray viewing, because PlayStation VR 1 did, and it would probably look so much better on PSVR 2, but they don't support it anymore. You should be able to just pop your old 3D Blu-rays in there and watch a 3D movie, but you can't. But you can watch 3D movies on Quest 3. Obviously, you can't watch Blu-rays, but they have apps that let you do that. You can purchase 3D movies and watch them. So anyway, that's one thing. But there's Google Earth in VR is stunning and amazing. I've talked before, I think, on this show about the Piano Vision app on MetaQuest 3 that uses AR to teach you piano, like a real piano. If you have a real piano in your house or a keyboard, it'll teach it to you like it's Guitar Hero. Lots of really cool stuff like that. There's all kinds of productivity apps and painting and drawing and CAD and visual modeling and stuff like that. All kinds of stuff like that on Steam VR. So yeah, I would recommend, like I said, I've gotten to this place now where I used to equivocate and be like, I don't know which one I would recommend. It's MetaQuest 3 right now. Today, this holiday season, it's the easiest thing to recommend as far as getting into VR.